Weather report from the shambles.
Some water. Some water.
Amazingly.
Don't do that. So we'll get the bike. That's where we're going. Well, here we are. There you go. You can have a little sit down in there. It's Friday. Welcome back to Rudgey, aka the Doctor. If you haven't already, hit the like, the share, and the subscribe. Sit back and enjoy the ride, and I'll try not to disappoint you. If you visited the Coffee and PayPal page this week, thank you ever so much for doing that. Massive help to me at the moment. Right, well, just a quickie, just to let you know that the videos are now running about a month out of date. This is due to the storm we had recently. If you flick back through the videos, you'll see that video. It's worth a watch. Did Trapezaki survive the storm, I think it's called. Yeah, so I thought it was more interesting to give you a bit of footage on that rather than what I'd actually been up to that week. So now we're running a month behind. I don't think it's going to make any difference to you guys really, except that I might have to re-edit some of them and throw a few updates in, like the bridge and Augustoli and things like that, things that are happening. And things that are happening at Villa Joro. Let me show you. So last year, some of you know, I had a bit of a gardening frenzy. I've got some small peppers growing in there. I'm trying to grow an onion there. We'll see how that goes. But I've got a load of radishes growing there. I've got some vine tomatoes. I've got some cucumbers growing there. I've got a lot of lettuce growing. That's done quite well. And broccoli. We're doing some broccoli there. Along here, we've got some bell peppers. So I'm going to have a little nursery at the back of the kitchen for the moment. I've got a sycamore plant, which is a fig tree. That's growing quite nicely. That's due to be planted. So they will eventually go. I'm due to go down and trim the garden. I haven't had a chance because I've been editing a lot and we had a lot of rain. As you can see, I've got some beds already dug. Cucumbers will go there. The tomatoes will go in the shade over this side because I found out last year they didn't like the sun. Peppers there, and the lettuce probably along there. We'll see. But yeah, so there's a little update for you. Let's crack on with the video. Right, well, before we go out to a beach and have a look round, I had somebody message me a few weeks ago now about a video that I did way back about the cost of living here. I think it was, I can't remember now, daily life, something like that, I don't know. Those of you who watch me on a regular basis will know this channel is more or less about what I do on a daily basis. It just so happens that I moved to Kefalonia recently, and I have a passion for that. Also have a passion for my way of life, riding motorcycles. So the two things have joined up and I go out looking at beaches. Those of you who follow me regularly will know all that. But he asked a few questions. He was a bit disappointed that I hadn't addressed cultural differences, rents, rates, things like that. Well, as I said in a previous video, I have started showing you how much things are, and that's why, because I've had a few people ask that. I'm not keen on doing it because if you watch a video as this person did, that's a year or two old, then the information's not going to be relevant, is it? It's a bit like the Golden Visa. I've seen a lot of TV programs. Place in the Sun, I think, is one of them, showing this wonderful life you can have by moving out to Greece. Well, since Brexit, I've got news for the people who watch that program. It's nearly impossible unless you've got a fair amount of money now to do that. You can't just move from England, Great Britain, UK, whatever you want to call it, to Greece. That's not possible anymore. You can't get the biometric that I've got unless you can prove that you were here previous to Brexit. And that involves having brown beige paperwork. They used to issue you paperwork with a stamp on it. So that really is out the window for a lot of people. So that leaves the golden visa, which is now €800,000 investment into a property. They're on about changing that this year so that you can't buy a property, you have to invest 800,000 in the country. I'm watching that with some interest to see what they expect you to do for that. And then there's the FIP visa, which is more or less for retired people, and you have to prove you've got an income you can live off, which is pretty substantial. I won't go into it because that keeps changing as well, so that won't be relevant in a year or two. So you see, that's why I don't talk about these things very often. As I keep saying, when the Hobbit comes back, she's stuck in the UK at the moment, we're waiting for paperwork. We are building up some footage now and some content to do you a little video about how her particular story unfolded and how she's managed to get her residency here. So that's that addressed. Cultural differences he was asking about, or she was asking about. Well, yeah, there's a lot of those. I'm not quite sure how to describe that, but you have to accept that the Greeks and the British think very differently. I'm not quite sure how to explain that, really. But the one thing I really like about living here, you know, everybody's friendly, everybody will help you. There's very few Greek people I've bumped into that won't help. Whereas in the UK, I don't know, people don't tend to say hello to each other anymore, do they? If you're walking along the street in Augustola, you can say hello to a complete stranger and they will say hello back, in Greek, of course. So that's a cultural difference, I would imagine, if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, I was a bit confused by the question, but anyway, yeah, leave in the comments. I do read them. So leave in the comments if there's anything you'd like to know, and if I can help, then I will mention it on this video. I think I addressed rents and rates, food, stuff like that in a previous video. But as I've said before, my rents and rates here is way cheaper than it would be in the UK, which is one of the reasons for me retiring here. I couldn't any longer afford to live in the UK. I lived on a boat purely because that was all I could afford. Funnily enough, I didn't want to be on benefits and things like that. My income wasn't particularly high. I hurt my back, which meant that working was going to be out of the question moving forwards, and I suffer with my mental health, as regular viewers will know, so that makes things difficult as well. So yeah, I lived on a boat for a reason, and those are all part of that reason. I couldn't afford to live in a house. Here, on a pension, I think I'll just about scrape by, and of course I get the coffee page linked to this channel will help just top things up. Can't afford a car, but I can afford a motorbike. And as I addressed that in a previous video, the bike is about 130 for the tax each year and about the same for the insurance. In fact, I think the insurance went down slightly this year. So you can do the maths yourself. So yeah, that's why I put up with I like riding my bike. I don't particularly like riding it in the winter though. So I'll be doing that as long as I can. There are ways of getting cheap cars. The cheaper the car, the better. The more cc's you have on a car, the more expensive it is. I think a car of about up to 1200 cc is about the same as my bike to tax. And after that, it goes up to 200 and then 300 and then 800 a year. That's, in some cases, that's a bit cheaper than the UK, the bigger cars. But anyway, I'm rambling there. So now I've explained all that, should we hit the beach? Yeah, I think we will. Let's go. Great day to be alive. That's the view from my living room window. Mount Enyas. There is snow under the clouds. We had quite a bit of snow up there, which is good because it will fill the water table up. So yeah, I wake up every morning to that because this is my bedroom and I get the same view from there. There is another thing living here. I see a lot on Facebook. People saying, "Oh, I found a dog wandering around with a collar on, so we've took it home." don't do that. Quite a lot of the villagers here, in this village anyway, Caravados, leave the dogs to run free. So it's probably somebody's dog that you've picked up. If you leave it alone, it will go home eventually. So I wouldn't say you have to put up with it, but you have to accept the fact that you'll get dogs barking at night, cockerels making a row all the way through the day and the night. My neighbour has several at the moment because instead of hatching a lot of chickens, which would have been useful for cooking and the eggs, he had a lot of cockerels, so we've had a lot of noise. But apparently he's going to get rid of a few of those this year. So yeah, that can, you have to accept that you've moved to a different country, a different culture, and that's the way they live. I've got used to the cockerels now; they don't really bother me. And of course, I get the odd batch of free eggs, so that's good. So that's another point. Anyway, I'm going to now go into the kitchen, tidy up, and wash my coffee cup up, and then we'll hit the road. Right, let's go and get the bike. Now, when I moved here, as those of you who've watched the video a lot, all this was pretty well overgrown. You couldn't see the view, so I've done quite a bit of gardening. You couldn't walk around the balcony there because that was all overgrown, so I've cut all that back. I've got a great landlady. She lets me just get on with it. I've got to, this time of year, that's something else. During the summer, unless you water it, nothing grows. But of course, as soon as it rains, you get all these clovers and things and weeds growing. So every week or so now, I'm having to trim that back and dig the garden beds over. So that's something to consider. Around the back of the property here. It's about, where are we now? We're about the 20th, I think, of January. It's about 17 degrees out here in the sun, but it's a bit cooler in the house. I think it was about 14 when I woke up in the house. So we'll get the bike, which I washed yesterday. Give that a quick polish off and then we're off out. Well, daily life. I'm on the back road from my place. Some of you might recognise it. If you go in that direction, just keep going straight all the way, you'll end up in Lourdes eventually. There's one of the local pharmacies. We've got many of those on the island, and they act as doctor's surgeries, really. They're very good for that sort of thing. There's the Fiat garage. Now, people keep saying, oh, there's nothing open in the winter. Well, there is. Let me show you. Place across the road there, that's open in the winter. Nice little taverna. And if you go into the Kithra, which is about a mile or two down that road, there's always tavernas and things open there. Mascaleros is one of them. Anyway, we're off to Spartia, so let's crack on. That's where we're going. There, that's where we're going. Right, now, for those of you who don't know the island very well, that's the castle up there that you can see quite clearly. And the main road between Poros and Agostoli runs along beneath it. So you would turn left. It should be well signposted, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's a left turn just as the entrance to the road to the castle. You turn left, follow it down here, and there's your landmarks. Of course, it probably says Le Kithra. It probably won't say Spartia. My pronunciation's getting worse. Anyway, let's crack on, because this is one of the benefits of living here, for those of you who have asked. This is like 5 minutes from where I live, and you'll see it's very quiet this time of year, so you can have a a little wander around, sit in the sunshine. I mean, I'm togged up because I'm on the bike, but it's about 17, 18 degrees at the moment, which isn't bad. And it feels warmer when you're sat in the sunshine. So let's crack on. Right, let's crack on. Of course, the other problem with living out here is getting parts for your bike, because we're on an island. There's lots of things on the mainland, not so much here. I'm after some brake discs for the front of the bike at the moment. I'm on a limited budget. There was a guy braking Z-Down, the discs were in mint condition, but he won't answer my emails. Now, we all think that they all talk English, but they don't have to. This is Greece after all, and what you tend to find is sometimes they won't answer your emails because they don't understand it. You know, it's in English, they don't understand it, or they don't want to engage in the translation. There's another problem. Anyway, cracking day to be alive. Look at this road. They've just resurfaced this, so it really is quite a nice ride. Health and safety. Yeah, there is none really. There probably is supposed to be, but the Greeks are quite good at taking no notice, which I'm not criticising. Things get done here. Here we are, Spartia, one of the two. 3, 4, whatever it was. Rambling now, Rudgey. Now I nearly rented a property here. You can turn left down there where it says Posada. Just on the left there was a couple of houses. I then rented one of the apartments at the back. Glad I didn't. I love my house. I love where we are as well. Anyway, this is Spartia. It's let's get a coffee, shall we? Right, here we are, Spartia. So there's a little coffee shop there attached to the mini market, which is open by the looks of it. And there's a mini market there, but that's usually shut in the winter, I've noticed. It's quite a big one as well. It's got all sorts of stuff that you need for your daily life. And then there's the coffee shop I've just pulled up outside of, and the guy's just closed. It's probably getting on for about 2 o'clock now, so he's probably going home for quiet time, because it is very quiet here. As you can see, little chapel. There's a taverna here, but I wouldn't think that's open in the winter. I'm yet to try that out. It looks really nice. I might come here with the Hobbit and see what she thinks of it. Yeah, it's closed. But it's very pretty. Pretty? Pretty? I am going Greek, aren't I? Aurea in Greek, that would be. So, I think I might get a coffee from the mini market if they're doing one, and sit in the sunshine, and then we'll go down the beach. Right, so we're going to head off in that direction now. As you can see, it says beach, so you can't really go wrong. We're going to follow that. It goes up and round to the left and down the hill, and we'll get to the beach eventually. Well, here we are, Spartia. We'll have a bit of a wander around in a minute. Quite a nice place to bring a packed lunch, actually. There's places to sit in the shade. 2 nice beaches. There's a rocky bit of a hill climb up there. You can go and have a look around there. It's good for swimming, and it's a great day to be alive. I've got the bike all dirty again. But that's just one of the hazards of running around this time of year. So I think we'll have a bit of a walk around and see what you think of this place. Those of you who watch me regularly will have seen this earlier in the year. I came with the Hobbit, and we went and sat down over there in the sunshine and watched the Greek families on their Greek holidays, having a bit of fun. You can launch your boat here, and I think there's some moorings here as well. There's a slipway over there, which we'll have a look at in a minute. So, let's crack on. There you go, you can have a little sit down in there. Table to put your stuff on, your snap, your packed lunch, your pack up, whatever you want to call it. Some of you might have noticed on a few of the videos I've been experimenting with the editing suite, and I think I've found the anti-shake, which makes walking with the camera a lot easier. I don't have a gimbal. I read these comments, and quite a lot of them are very constructive, and some of them, well, there was a guy a while back now suggested that I got a 4K camera, a gimbal, drones, all that sort of stuff. Well, that's not what this channel's about, really. It's about me going out with my phone, filming my daily life, and chucking a few beaches in for you guys, so that you can get your little Kefalonian fix. So I don't know, some people might misunderstand what the channel's about, really. I am trying to accommodate everybody. It's difficult, can't please everybody all the time, as my gran used to say. So yeah, I don't mind the comments. In fact, I find them very useful a lot of the time. It's like the one John made about the, he sent me an email actually, about the editing suites and anti-shake. I did think there was probably something like that, but it made me look for it all the more. Now this beach, what you've got to be aware of, we've had an awful lot of rain, and as you can see, some of the cliff is ending up down on the beach. That wasn't there last year. You can see it's been washed down, the clay. Pretty sheer, that clay cliff face there. but it is a very nice beach. Look at that. Daily life in Kefalonia. Yeah, this is pretty much it. Something I do now is I will go back to Rudgey and download all this content and put it in a file on the computer. What day are we at? We're at Wednesday today, so today I won't be editing next week's video. What I will be doing though is downloading all the footage off the phones and camera into a file, and then I'll be putting on the coffee page supporters on the end of this week's video. Yeah, if you wait till the end of the video, you'll see your name come up if you've been on my coffee page and PayPal. Link in the description below. Anyway, enough of that advertising. I hate all that, but you have to finance these things. It is a beautiful day. It was torrential rain last night and thunderstorms, and we have some thunderstorms here, I can tell you. Oh, they make the house rattle. So that's something else you have to think about if you wanted to move here and you could find a way around all the strict legislation we have now in place. We have earthquakes. Although the buildings on Kefalonia was flattened in 1953 by, I think it was a 7.5, something like that. It's well documented. And most of the villages suffered huge losses and people were killed, etc. So they're very, very strict on building regulations now. So if you're coming out here, don't worry about the earthquakes. We have lots of them, lots of tremors throughout the year. My house has been up since 1971, I think it was built, and there's no signs of damage to that. I happen to know we've had a few 5.5s. You just get used to them. And the other thing is the thunderstorms. They are severe. Yeah, quite a lightning show if you like that sort of thing. Of course, in the summer you don't tend to get any of that sort of thing going on, really. We will probably get to about the end of April, March, and it'll be a completely different place. In fact, last year we didn't have any rain from the end of April, well, no, beginning of April I got back, right the way through till end of October, something like that. Didn't do the island a lot of good, but one of those things. Everybody's pointing to climate change. I think it was just the perfect storm, really. Look how beautiful that thing is. She's a beautiful girl. Right, that's one end of the beach. I hope you're sticking with this, because I'm having a walk. Let's go up the other end and have a look. There's somebody swimming over there, so I won't disturb them, we'll just wander past them. Yeah, there's no tavernas open down here. As I was saying earlier, things are open. Rudgey in particular stays open all year round, whether there's something going on there. But don't expect any of your resorts to have a taverna open this time of year, because it's just not worth their while. There's nobody apart from locals coming down there, and people like me aren't going to spend money in a taverna when we can go home and get something to eat. After all, I am on a budget. So this is the other beach, and again, as you can see, it's been eroded by the sea. They've actually got a sign in there. I mean, this is seaweed from the storm that's at the bottom of it. So that's not part of the problem, but they have got a sign on there warning people not to sit under it in case it collapses. It's getting pretty close, looking at it, to the edge of the taverna, but not just yet. Anyway, we're going to walk around here now. If you don't like walking around beaches, you come to the wrong channel. That's Lourdes, you can see in the distance, that little strip there. Lourdes Beach. Around the corner would be Itelios, Mundo, all those sort of places, Scala, Poros. And of course Mount Enyas. You can't see, you can just make out actually the snow. See the where there's no trees, just above that, you can just make out a bit of snow. If the cloud clears, I'll film it for you. Let's go up here. Yeah, cultural differences. As I said earlier, I've been asked about that. That's confused me a little bit because, well, if you move to a foreign country, wouldn't you expect there to be some cultural differences? I'm not quite sure what they are, to be honest. They're a very religious nation, which, whether you believe or not, I don't think that's a bad thing. I've noticed actually that not so much with the younger generation that's coming through, but certainly before that, people are very respectful. So you have to be careful you don't offend them, really. It's like my friends, a lot of my friends will come round with honey and fruit and veg. They'll give you a hand with things. You try and repay them, they don't like it. You have to be careful not to insult them in that way. So I find ways around that. Generally, I wouldn't have moved there if they weren't a lovely nation. Even the younger people, you know, I think it's the way they're brought up. I think, personally, just my personal view, I think the UK has lost its way, really. We're too lenient, too liberal. Anyway, I won't get involved in the politics. It's not what you're tuned in for, really. Well, some of you may have done reading the comments. Anyway, we're climbing up this little bit I was telling you about, because if you've got a paddleboard or you're into swimming, so will the Hobbit. Sorry about the wind. I had a curry last night. That old joke again. There's a little cave over there. So if you've got a little boat and you launch it here, you have to be aware of the rocks. But a little boat, I wouldn't think that's going to be too much of a problem. You could visit those, couldn't you? Yeah, cultural differences. I'm going to have to give that some consideration. Yeah. There are quite a lot of other complications daily life here. If you, like me, are into your cars and motorbikes not so much, but cars, very expensive here. Forget about trying to import them. We're going to be doing a video about that soon. I'm trying to import my motorbike. Yeah, unless it meets the emission requirements, forget it. And they're pretty strict on that. And that's set in stone. It's on the lock rail of your car usually. Of course, the handlebars will be on the wrong side. That's something else to consider. And the import duty can be pretty fierce, very expensive. Second-hand cars here be cheaper than importing one, but they are very expensive. And anything, as I said earlier, over 1.1cc, the tax starts to get expensive. And if it's a new car, I forget now how many years it has to be. 10 years, I think. If it's younger than 10 years old, you get a luxury tax on it. So that's another problem to consider. Motorbikes haven't got luxury taxes on them, and like I say, I've got a 1000cc 03 Z1000 Gen 1 Kawasaki. It's a mouthful, isn't it? And well, as I said earlier, it's 130 euros a year taxation. So their equivalent to the MOT, the don't know whether I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Cateo, I don't know how you pronounce that. Anyway, their MOT, cars and bikes every 2 years, but cars have to go and have the emissions done every year. Tyres, you're supposed to change them every 4 years. I would imagine that's because the sun degrades the material, and you will fail the MOT on things like that. So you have to be aware of that. Although sometimes you get away with that. So that's something else to think about. Yeah, it's in the UK, I'd probably have a Range Rover now, like Jamie Clarkson's got, or an American car, or a Jeep. I can't afford to run one here, let alone buy one. So yeah, if you're into your cars, consider that. You might have to give that dream up. Anyway, that is Spartia Beach. And as I said, it's Wednesday, so now I've got to go back and edit the Coffee and PayPal page for this week's video. Talking of which, if you visited the Coffee and PayPal this week, thank you ever so much. It's a massive help to me. I would really struggle without that at the moment. It's a massive, massive help. If you hit the like, share and subscribe, sat back and enjoyed the ride, thank you ever so much for that as well. Every share is a big help. The comments, the more I get, apparently that helps with the algorithms. And of course, subscriptions are always nice. Keeps me going, means that I know people are watching me. So yeah, thanks for that. Link in the description below for the coffee page. And of course, subscribing to YouTube is free. Just means you get a notification when this idiot does something new. Well, there you go. We've had a walk round. I hope you stayed till the end of that. I hope I've answered some of your questions. If there's anything you'd like to know, leave it in the comments section. Like I say, I do read them. I don't answer them all now because there's such a lot going on with the channel that I could see it was going to become impossible to keep track of it all. So now I answer my emails and WhatsApp, things like that. So from a sunny Spartia, I'm going to get back on the Black Pearl and head for home. Come on, Nikki, let's go. You need another wash, girl. I've only just cleaned you as well. So that's this week's video. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. And I did this one. Always like going over to Spartia Beach. If you haven't already hit the like, the share and the subscribe, sit back and enjoy the ride. For those of you who visited the Coffee and PayPal page this week, thank you ever so much for doing that. It's massive, massive help. I'll look forward to seeing some of you this coming summer. So yeah, if you send me a message or whatever, I don't mind meeting up with you. But as I've said in previous videos, please don't try and find the house because it upsets the neighbours slightly. They like a bit of privacy, and I don't blame them. So yeah, I'll meet up with you if you send me a message. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. See you guys next week.